Once again we will witness the gathering of the Whispering Idiots, noticing that the prophecy has been fulfilled, except this time there will be more of them, due to this being the very first cutter in existence. The journey has ended. Now for a new chapter.
If you thought I would be the first person to obtain the super cutter, I would have laughed in your face, simply because cutter was going to be one of those petals that may never have been crafted, gone to the Oracle for, or even purchased. So I decided to take the initiative myself, assuming no one else was going to go for cutter. And it all starts during the second round of Termite Hell. Yes, I came back here again, a long time after obtaining the unique bone, when it used to drop here at the time. Eventually it switched to Triangle, and Bone was switched to Fire Ant Hell. Then Termite Hell was buffed, both in rates and in the health of the monsters. Then Bone was switched back into the Termite Hell, with buffed rates and buffed termites, which wasn't as easy as you think it was, and the buffed worms did not help one bit. To now the Triangles being in the Fire Ant Hell, which is the worst place to farm, unless you want Yucca for some reason. We first tried the Ultra Zone, which spawns all the Ultras of course, but this was deemed to be too difficult, even for the strongest of players, so we settled for the chamber behind it. You may have thought this was a bad idea because, there's a bunch of mythics, but I can assure you that the rates, although not the top tier, you still gained quite a lot if you utilized it to its maximum potential. And after I obtained the triangles that I needed, which was a lot, and in case if you are wondering how many triangles I mean, these are the amount of triangles I am talking about, although it's not all of them. And once I achieved all of these triangles, I went to the factory. And if you know anything about factory recipes, specifically the triangle to cutter recipe, you need 10 triangles for one cutter. However, finding the recipe, you have to be very lucky. Lucky that it's the recipe you want, and lucky that it is the Ultra Rarity Assembler. And I had to do this because when I initially crafted all of my triangles, the majority of them were mythic, and I had about 800 Ultra Triangles, so I had to craft them. And now back to the moment that I obtained the Super Cutter. Of course this was going to be a big deal because no one has Super Cutter yet, not even anyone that has bought it, or crafted it from 5. And there was always that fear that someone would have crafted it from 5. And even if they did, I still would have gone for the cutter. Time to equip it, time to sparkle with spinning blades, even though you can't really see much of the sparkles because of how the cutter is. And now I can give you the raw numbers if you ever so want to see. 19,683 body damage. It's not the matter of how good it is, or how viable it is, it's more knowing that I actually have it. And I will say that pairing this with sharp edges, that's a lot of body damage. Something like this could be useful in player versus player, but I am no expert on that. During super hunting, there could be a use, as long as you do not become a stupid idiot bandage user, because body damage is lowered when you use bandage. Now farming is a difficult one, because with the most recent updates, ramming is mostly underclassed, which is a shame. Now you can make a build based around ramming, such as full health, body damage, sharp edges that is, and some other stuff. That is if you have the talent points for it, and sadly for ramming, there isn't enough. And with all the stuff that I have, I decided to test it and see what the numbers would come up as. But this is difficult to know because the tick rate on a super dummy or an ultra dummy is not the same as having a bunch of monsters around you basically hitting more than what you do on the dummy. So something like this will not be a fully accurate number. The best way to test this would be if you hit an ultra roach or a super roach and then back yourself into a corner with it. Then you will see the true damage numbers. But at that point you'll have to figure out the damage numbers yourself, considering you do not have a graphic for that to show the damage numbers. Now originally that plan was for Magic Eye. The plan was for Magic Eye. Super Magi. However, at the time, this could have taken far too long. And I may revisit this in the future, who knows? And I may just do this with the new sewers alongside the buffed drop rates. Yes, I haven't forgotten, and I will get to this eventually. It eventually changed to cutter because of the cutter recipe, which takes 10 triangles. And knowing how termitel and now fire antel, I guess, are farmed, this was the most logical option for me. Now you may be asking yourself, why did you go for cutter instead of 10 triangles? Because 10 triangles is a lot of damage and is arguably superior to cutter. It's simple. I don't care. I can obtain triangles at any time, but the opportunity for cutter is incredibly slim, especially in fire antel where no one wants to farm it. Even for triangles. Most players got their triangles from the termitel, an easier place to farm. And the ones that are still wanting to farm fire antel are those that do not have enough triangles yet. And by the time triangles were switched to the fire antel, I was almost very close to my goal, more than 3/4 of the way there. So I had to finish the goal. I had to complete the journey. And the triangle petal itself, I was not ever interested in it in the first place. I don't necessarily need triangles. I will obtain one for collection, one super that is, and I will leave it at that. And when it comes to the predictions I have made in this game, mainly about petal stats, I have certainly predicted many things correct about petals, and whilst cutter can be nerfed, it can also be buffed, and I am not hoping for this, I'm not even going to ask for it. I just wanted it for the sheer flex and potential use for it that I could have. I was never going to try and craft these because there would always be that slight chance that I would not obtain a cutter. So a guaranteed oracle was enough. This was the only chance where I could be the very first cutter user, and I was not going to take that risk. And now the farming of other petals and other areas, as well as going back to super hunting, will commence. Perhaps you will see me use this in the future. Who knows? The journey is what matters, not the destiny. Until you get it, then the destiny matters.